Hi, Aquarius. The downloaded channeled message that I can only say it was an incredible experience the other night. There was so much information. I decided to make this blackout video just to try to complete the other messages. Some of it I wasn't sure about, so I'm only going to tell you what I am sure about, because there were some other really astounding things that came out. And here they are as best as I can explain it. So first of all, I want you to know that I was not doing a reading. I was not even doing a channeled message. I was on my computer with my earphones in, sampling music from Epidemic Sound. Not in any way expecting to have any sort of meditative experience or pick up on anything. I didn't have any vibration on. I wasn't drunk or high, completely sober and very focused on the music sampling. I was listening to an incredibly beautiful piece of music called The Hour of Truth. Maybe that had something to do with it, I don't know. But the other thing that was on my mind was something that I had due in another work project that I was doing. And I have to submit it, and I do know that I'm not going to win. It's an application. The other side is going to win, but I do have to submit it. As soon as that thought went through my head, my left ear started to ring. And I started to feel a little bit excited in a good way. So, and then there was just this, first I saw a boxer, an actual boxer, someone, who boxes. And it was like I was being shown that this boxer had a very low chance of winning. It was 1 in 2,000. And then came in this sentence that was very complete. Of course, as you know, if you're an intuitive, you would know that we don't hear voices, okay? But it was a very verbatim sentence, something like, in very sober. It wasn't an angry or a happy. It was just intriguing. My odds of winning are 1 in 2,000. And the devil was not, the word devil was not used. I can't remember what it was, but it was clear that he was talking about, or she, whatever. Look, God is not in human form. Okay, nothing that is in the unmanifest is in a physical form. So it's impossible to be male or female. It's impossible to take up space, because you're not matter, you're not material in the unmanifest. So if anyone says, stop calling God he, it doesn't matter, because those beings are not, their probability amplitudes, they are not matter, they don't take up space. And by the way, that was relevant to the message. So the first theme is already on the video. It was that the reason why, what I left out on the video was that the most powerful, the most powerful gasoline or fuel, the most powerful tool that we have access to is in the unmanifest. But very few of us know how to get there. Very few of us won't even try because we don't believe. And then there was a very, very sober, strong message explaining that the vast majority, it doesn't matter if people say they're Hindu or Islam or Christian or it doesn't matter, or Seventh-day Adventist, Spirit said their religion is the devil. Why? Because even people who make an effort to be devoted to their faith, they are still subscribing to the illusion of the physical world, and that is the devil. That's the devil's lie. And then now I'm going to explain to you what I didn't get to put on the video and what I forgot to put on the video. So Spirit made it very clear to me that I was to explain to you, no matter what faith you are, there is a misunderstanding in all religious texts about where heaven is, and let's just call it heaven, the unmanifest, and where the world is and where hell is. And I am 100% positive that the truth is that hell is in the 3D. In other words, we're in hell right now. If you're living on planet Earth right now, this is hell. This is where hell is. It's nowhere else. Okay? Now, heaven and hell are not separate places. This is what I didn't get to put on the video. So Spirit showed me, it was almost like it was like the infinity sign, except it was like two plates that were going back and forth, but they were going right through each other. It's two planes that exist in the same space. What does that mean? It means that the devil is wrong. He's wrong. So this isn't where we are right now. We have access to the unmanifest. So this is not it all. The problem is in the 3D. If you don't dip into source, okay, and the way that you get there is through your mind, okay, and your heart, you can't use space, time, motion. These things don't work to get into that other dimension. You really got to suspend your disbelief here. So in other words, if you subscribe to the material realm, if you don't even try to get to meditate, if you don't try to contact the other realm, you will never be in it. So there's a possibility that you can get into it right now, but if you don't try, it's the vast majority of people will only be in the 3D while they're living their lives. However, the plane is there. It's just that you can't, if you don't believe, if you don't have faith in it, if you don't believe in it, and you know, you got to try it. Nobody will try it unless they believe in it a little bit. All it takes, as Jesus of Nazareth said, is a mustard seed of faith. Oh, here's the other thing. Jesus is not the Son of God. This is really important, okay? God is not a human being. There were a number of energies, souls communicating. I don't know who was who, or it doesn't really matter, but I did understand it feels like these were very wise, probably very high ranking. What does that mean? These are, authoritative. These are what the archangels have the ability to do things. For example, they can, if they decide it's necessary, they can go into the manifest. They don't like doing it though, but they will do that if someone attracts their attention. And that was the other part of the message I'm going to mention in a minute. So let me just go back to Jesus of Nazareth. The message that I got was there were a total of 13 souls, 13 beings that tried to do what Jesus did. They were all crucified. And this ran from about, it was, so I saw numbers from 1500 BC up to 500 BC, 13 of them before Jesus. Jesus was the last one who was crucified. So what does this mean? It's very important because it means that that they didn't say this, but I'm wondering why they stopped trying. We are crucifying anyone who comes and tells the truth and tries to spread the truth. They end up being crucified. And I think what what the energies were telling me was that the problem is devil energy is also devil is in the unmanifest and in the manifest. Devil invades our bodies. It's in our cells. It's in things like so if you know when something's evil. Viruses are evil. Anything that doesn't have doesn't show empathy. A virus, for example, an RNA virus, just wants to destroy, and anything that uses trickery, anything that does not use truth. So a virus will do something like it'll trick the cell. It gets in by pretending to be something good. That's devil energy. So devil energy is anything that is not true and uses trickery, tries to deceive. So that operates on the cellular level. Now, the devil energy is extremely cognizant that spirit in the unmanifest, that power is way more powerful than the devil is. That's why he gets off on the fact that everybody votes for the devil. Deep down, everyone believes the devil is more powerful. In other words, let's just take the word devil away. Deep down, everyone thinks that money is the only way to be able to win or to get a high-ranking, position in the world. That you have to have a good reputation, that you have to be healthy, that you have anything that involves judgment or material things, anything that is not true, okay, is devil energy. But the reason why, when somebody tries to spread faith, to ask people to suspend their disbelief and to devote themselves to things that don't involve power, money, greed, it triggers fear in those who are in control of the world through power, money, and greed, because they fear that they're going to lose it. So of course that's why. So 13, what did they call them? They have a name for people, for souls who went into physical form to try to make these changes. And there's some kind of funny message about where Jesus is right now. Is he in the manifest, the unmanifest? Nobody knows. It's like he's gone AWOL. There was a suggestion that there is another dimension. I believe it has something to do with time travel, and it's not evil. It's just another thing that that you can do once you've developed a very, very high rank in the unmanifest. How do you do that? That's my next point. So so this odd that came up, that the odd that was mentioned, the odd of losing and the odd of winning, apparently there has been a change, okay? And so this attracts the attention of archangels. They start watching. There was something about watching. So in other words, I believe there's a number of women that are being watched right now. And so what is attracting their attention? It comes to their attention, believe it or not, by the devil. Devil and spirit communicate quite often. And so the devil actually gets very, very impressed, doesn't get pissed off, but impressed when he can't dissuade someone. There's a woman who is praying for somebody who treated her badly. What was I'm forgetting. I've already forgotten. He tried to tear her down. In fact, he did. He did terrible things to her. Thing is, he loves her. Look, sounds like a twin flame. I remember now the point of it. So she's being watched. She's definitely, they've already decided, the devil has decided to throw in the towel on her because she's just turning everything down. she's making decisions on her own. She's not listening to her friends or her parents, or she's doing these, great acts of courage. Doesn't have a penny in her pocket, but she's doing it. Anyway, I wonder who she is. Anyway, there's a possibility that her twin flame may stop listening. I believe he may be Indian, and she may be Indian as well, because there was something about it looked like his parents disapproved of her and had somebody else in mind. So that's why I thought it might be an Indian couple. Anyway, there was a possibility that this guy who is a total devil worshiper, and I don't mean, that he cast spells or something, but actually from pretty close to it, because he got her, took her money away and all that stuff. Anyway, I digress. They're all excited because he has a choice coming up, and apparently he started to think about making a decision in conformity to what he wants to do. Now, there's something else that came through. Now, this was about religion, okay? So there was a very, very strong message that I was not to suggest that any religion is more correct than another. In fact, the message was that no religion has the full truth, but each religion has something right, okay? For example, so there was Hindus were mentioned, Muslims were big time. I'm trying to remember what the Muslims had. The correct idea about Jesus, okay? That because they understood that he was not an actual son, okay? What else was mentioned? Hinduism was big. There was the Hindus. In Jesus, in Hinduism, was mentioned as ISHU, was something like that. See, because you can't hear, you don't actually hear sound when these things come through. You see images. Maybe it's issue or something. I don't know. And they considered they have more accurate information about Jesus of Nazareth. They call him the one who was born in the cowshed or something. Yeah, and they said that they wrote about the beautiful sermons that he gave to people on mountains. So Islam have very correct interpretations of Moses, as you know, who came way before Jesus. There were other ones. What I will say, okay, I will point out the religion that had the least number of things correct, and that was Christianity. Amazing, especially the Catholics. I'm sorry if you're Catholic. I totally apologize. Okay, I'm just going to pause the tape and see if I can remember anything else. Oh, yeah. If you are a tarot reader, oh my God. God forgive me for saying that. There is so much gratitude and respect. And it's because of their faith, their unshakable faith, and their passion in the way they deliver their message. And one other thing, that they always assign, they always talk about karma and that vengeance belongs to spirit, and that humans, because you see, there's so many things that tarot readers have correct. In fact, I didn't see anything that they had incorrect. I just saw a lot of respect, and there was sort of a message of hypocrisy, and that not about but from people in the material, people in the world judging tarot readers. It was sort of like a how dare they, because it's understood that the readers have an unshakable faith. What was the other thing? Yes, it was the fact that the readers are doing it to warn. Their purpose is to give information, is to find the truth. That they do their best to find the truth, and they do it through spirit. It is such like that. You guys get a gold star, highly, highly, highly respected, and in the unmanifest. I'm just going to pause the tape again. One very important thing. This was a very important part of the message. And again, it's because of lack of truth. There's so much misinformation on the internet, and Christianity especially is, I find it revolting. But anyway, that is not what any message, any part of the channel message. However, there was a very, very strong request for me to state the following. And this has to do with the two plate things. Again, when somebody loses a child to leukemia, or they're angry because where's God? God, but where was God? Blah, 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 blah. So this of course is devil energy, because they're subscribing to the fact that they need to see. I need to see God. God doesn't exist. I need to see him. And how could God have allowed that to happen? Okay, so here is what's going on here. That person didn't try to contact God. Maybe they went into the chapel and prayed 10,000 times a day. But a prayer will not work if you're begging and you don't really believe in God, okay? You have to have faith. What is faith? It is you don't need a lot of it for it to work. Just a mustard seed, and God, Spirit, in order to attract their attention. In other words, it's like God can't see you. They can't see you unless they detect a little tiny bit of faith. Okay, think of the unmanifest. I'm going to use a metaphor as a police dog. Okay, that sniffs out drugs. The police dog will never find the package that doesn't have a drug in it, because it's not. It's looking for the drug. What God is always looking for you, but the way that he finds you is if he sees, smells, hears it, faith, then any prayer that you ask will be answered. So many people don't know what faith is, so I'm going to try to just give you a very, very, very simple example, but I got to pause the tape and make sure I'm right about this. So faith in God is the same as faith in oneself. That's what I'm getting here. Just a moment. The Spirit just told me to use a movie, and I got one. Okay. Here, I'll tell you what faith is. If you don't understand what it is, rent the movie. Now, it's a modern movie, The Changeling. It's based on a true story about a woman whose little boy, I don't know if he was lost or kidnapped or whatever, but the point is, there was some political reason. It was somebody in a position of power would have lost his position if the truth had come out, and she was the only one who had the truth. And you know where she got her truth? From her heart. She just knew. They had tried to return a boy that looked just like hers, and the boy did. I mean, it could have passed. You know, this was, I don't know, maybe 70 years ago that this happens. I don't know if they had DNA tests back then, but she was so certain that it wasn't her son that she began her crusade. And what would have happened if she had proved that she was right was that several politicians and so the head of a police force, they would have all been, they would have all lost their positions. So there was a very secret campaign against her, and they managed to put her in a mental institution. And all throughout, the reason why she finally managed to get her son returned was because she ran on faith. So faith is faith in oneself, faith in the truth. It's the ability to know the truth. Your heart knows the truth. You can connect with spirit and the truth, God and the truth, and unconditional love. They're all the same thing. But as you can see, it also requires courage and the ability to not be tempted by the devil. What's tempted by the devil? What if I'm wrong, everyone will think I'm crazy. What if they put me in a mental institution? What if, it's that type of thing. So the idea is these are all the threats of the devil. These are all things that don't really matter. If your faith in the truth and in God is so strong, if you have an unshakable faith, you attract that God knows right where you are. And so, similar examples, but if you're uncertain of yourself, you're less likely it's less likely that God will find you. So why did my son get leukemia? Why did he die? You're wrong. I hate God. There's no God. God doesn't love me. There's no God. This is all supported by the devil, and the devil, yeah, you're right, yeah. Because where is he? You can't see him. Again, the problem is poor old God is not in human form. It's not matter. And there was sort of a sciencey thing that they were showing me about what is the world, what are physical things. It's energy that actually needs space, right? So they were showing me two rocks. They cannot, in this physical world, they can't take up the same space. So that's a limitation of the 3D. In the other realm, that none of those rules apply. Okay. Now I don't know much about any of the other. That's as much as I understand to be true. Okay, one more. I'm just going to pause the tape for a second. Finally, there was a really funny, cute little comment that it wasn't made by spirit. This is why I was getting the energy of 4 or 5 different, I'll say people, but obviously these weren't people. So somebody said, you guys cry when people die. We cry when people go into the manifest. So you get the idea. It's really so one thing that the unmanifest really frown upon are when human beings are mourning the loss of somebody's death, because and it's fine to miss somebody's company, but to be thinking that what a shame it is that they didn't get to live out this is such a beautiful world, and now they're in an unsafe place. Now there's nothing. That is a slap in the face to spirit, and it's so ignorant. This is like a map. It's not the territory. This is a movie. It's an illusion. This is not real where we are. It's like a reflection of what's real. It is. It's so there is something. Here you only have to turn on the bloody television if you don't believe that this is hell. There are wars. People are being executed. Innocent people are being executed. We're still executing people in the United States, knowing that there's a chance that people can be innocent. We are being very cruel to animals. We're drowning. I don't even want to go into what we're doing to animals. It makes me not want to be here. But here's the thing. Highly spiritual people who understand that this is a place, it's like a tester. It's for the soul to develop. It's not meant to be a party. It's now, Spirit was saying that you must strive to be happy because it's such a place of wrath. It doesn't mean that you get to sit around and be miserable. What it means is that you must strive to find happiness. That's part of the challenge. But so for people who think, why is this world so horrible? Oh my God, life is such a struggle. Absolutely it is. It's meant to be. It's meant to be. This is like boot camp. We are supposed to be learning, developing, sweating. We're doing soul development. We are being, this is hard, bloody work, okay? Now, okay, just a moment. Yeah, okay, finally, just back on the religion thing. There is a strong, strong message to stop judging and labeling based on whatever people's religion they subscribe to. That's none of your business. It's none of anybody's business. Now, on a personal level, if you were to ask Spirit, well, what religion is correct? Spirit will answer, none of them. None. But here, then what do I do? What should be my religion? Spirit will tell you to take from each and every one what is true. Okay? And then you'll ask, well, what are the truths? Figure it out. You will know when your heart is the place to find what's true. Okay? It's not intuition. Intuition is more related to little whiskers on a cat. It lets you know what's going on around you. Intuition is more or less to pick up deception, and it's really, really intimidating to the devil. That's why tarot readers get mocked, targeted, and by the way, they ought not to. But anyway, they don't. Never mind warning them because they don't believe in spirit anyway. But tarot readers are highly protected, but it is very offensive to spirit when they are mocked because they rely on truth that they don't get from the bloody material world or from someone they think is right. Anyway, so you take from each. So if you're a parent, for example, and your children, you want your children to Spirit says no matter who comes to the door. In other words, sometimes, the Seventh-day Adventists will come to the door, the Mormons. Spirit says let them in, and leave your children in the room alone with them. I mean, obviously make sure that no one's getting physically harmed, but you are not to tell them what's right and wrong. You are to guide them and discuss it with them. But it's very important for someone to be able to find. It's the pathway to spirit. It's the pathway to God, the golden keys, whatever. They will get there faster if you have trust and faith that they'll find their way. And no religion is to be judged. Spirit says that if people would do that, there wouldn't, we wouldn't have all this trouble over in the Middle East. But anyway, I think that's it. I'm just going to do one last little check. One last little, there was so much information. So there was, on the topic of Jesus of Nazareth and, miracle creating and all that kind of stuff. The reason why it's rarely documented is because there are so many. There are people who are as capable as Jesus of Nazareth was in healing. And there are tons and tons of them on this earth right now. But what they do, this is in the Vedas, by the way, which are some of the oldest religious texts. They do not ever talk about it. They don't brag. It's a very negative energy to be bragging. And what the miracles that they are creating are for others. Okay, that's the miracles. Now, God, the unmanifest, whatever. There was a strong message that if you want to manifest something physical, if you feel guilty in some way, for doing it, that is to be shake that off, because as long as your intentions toward others are good, and you're not asking for something so that you can show it off and be better than somebody else, if it's because you truly desire this beautiful car, that's fine. But if you have anything in your psyche or in your heart, any jealousy, or what it is if you have any hope that someone else will do badly, you will not be able to manifest. So it just means you have to go back. And apparently the key to getting rid of that, because you can't judge yourself, the key to getting rid of that is to try to find something about that person that you feel. Try as hard as you can to feel for them. The word I think is empathy. Once you feel empathy for someone, you will if you see them doing badly, it'll put a lump in your throat, and then you know that you're there. You've gotten rid of all of whatever that is. So as long as your energy toward people is wanting them to do well, or simply just being on your own and just wanting to be at peace, but as well, not wanting anyone to be in pain, you're in prime shape there to manifest. And there's no reason to feel guilty about bringing physical things toward you. You do need to have a clear idea in your head as to what you want. So you have to create the blueprint. It's in the unmanifest, they can do many things, but here's what they need. They need the blueprint. They also need to see that you have a strong desire for it, and that it's your desire, and that it's not conditional or attached to it to show up somebody else. What was it? You have to have a mustard seed of faith. In other words, you have to believe that it can happen. And if you don't have, it's okay if you think it's unlikely and I don't think I'm going to get it. But if you can just for a split second have that feeling, it could happen. That's all you need, just a mustard seed. And you must communicate it to the other realm. The best time to do that is when you 4 a.m. There's something about the hour of 4 a.m. that is, I don't know why. Okay, when nobody else is there, and the sound of ah is extremely important. So sound meditation is the fastest way to get there. The other thing is the only way to continue to be able to manifest is to also, when the things start showing up, you must also make a list of the things that showed up and do a deep meditation of gratitude when they show up alone, and you must say thank you. You must say thank you. Okay. I think that's it. Just a moment. Oh, one last little point about the tarot, and what Spirit loves about the tarot. What I just told you about how, especially the Rider-Waite deck, okay, that's the only deck that Spirit was looking at. Do you remember when I was just explaining to you that each religion has something right. If only somebody could, put something together. But these things do exist. They are there. Nobody is teaching or finding these texts. I would suggest the Vedas were mentioned, the 4 Vedas. The truth is in a very, very ancient religious texts, but they are not Christian. I can tell you that much. Anyway, and you will find them online. By the New Testament and the Old Testament, there's probably about there's really only a couple of places where they have the message correct, and in fact, a lot of times it is it's hidden in the way that we've changed the wording. It has been completely distorted. So it's very, very, very very difficult to find God through any particular religion. You're better off just living your life and feeling that doing what you know is right. Go ahead and read the Bible if you want. Read the Quran. Talk to people. Ask people who subscribe to the Quran what do they like the most about it. Ask them. Some of my tarot clients are from India, and I always, every time I get a chance to Zoom with them, I tell them something about our Bible, and I ask them how do they view this or that, and I'll tell you something. The Quran has got it way better than we do, way better than the Christians do. But anyway, what I was going to say was that what Waite has done, if you study you would really have to study the old-fashioned symbolism, which comes from that text that is absolutely excruciating to read. The 1910 version of the Pictorial Key to Tarot. It drove me absolutely bonkers. It was the worst document I ever read, because it was just the way that Waite wrote is so confusing. But I would suggest then listening to the videos from Helen Goldberg, who's a Jew, and I would also suggest reading online. There's Tarot Haven, but the best forum is one that is still on the internet, but it is closed for comments, and there is a brilliant person. They just know him or her as 13, and I'm just going to pause the tape and give you the name of the forum.